9 News Plus weather sponsored by Carrier Colorado. The future of home comfort is here.
Hey, happy Halloween. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi, and it's Monday, October the 31st, of course, and this Halloween looking fantastic weather-wise. I mean, if you're trick-or-treating out there, probably can't get much better weather than what we are going to be looking at here on this Halloween and this Monday, and really much of this week looking pretty nice until Thursday and Friday. And we'll get a little system that works its way through the front range that could lead to some rain or snow. Until then, though, we're looking at mostly a lot of sunshine. And look at those snow-capped Rockies off in the distance. Beautiful sight. Those fall leaves, though, slowly kind of coming to a close. You can still see some color out there, but we're certainly long past peak, even here in some of the lower elevations, probably about a week or two. I'd say about 2 weeks past peak here in the Denver area. Did have a nice run about middle of October, kind of that third week of October is really, really nice around this way. But so that wind we had last week brought down a lot of those leaves. So long story short, we're pretty much done with the fall foliage at this point, as you probably already knew. That said, we're not done with the nice weather. Look at this trick-or-treating weather coming up for our day today. It's going to be beautiful out there, very comfortable temperatures, so whatever costumes you got, probably maybe need a light jacket. That should pretty much do it, though, for any weather concerns. Certainly no rain or snow expected statewide tonight. Mild Tuesday and Wednesday coming on up, and then end of the week, rain or snow looking likely. We'll get into more detail on that here in the next couple of minutes. But of course, all eyes on that Halloween forecast, and it's spooktacular. It's looking fantastic out there. Mostly clear skies. We got temperatures that'll be somewhere around 60 degrees around 6 o'clock for the early goers. Then by about 9 o'clock, about mid to maybe upper 40s, depending on where you're at tonight. So this is comfortable stuff for this time of year. We're going to be talking about temperatures probably about 5 to 10 degrees above average for Halloween. And again, those clear skies, things will cool on off pretty quickly, but again, no weather concerns, and I would say overall we're looking very, very nice outside. HD Doppler radar not picking up on really anything here statewide right now, and not expecting anything for the rest of today and tonight, as I mentioned, but tomorrow we'll see a few high clouds start to stream on in from the south and west. That is out ahead of our next storm system. This is southwesterly flow that will start to bring in some of that moisture for our next storm system. So again, later tomorrow, even here in Denver, you may notice a few of those high clouds working their way on into the picture. But today, spectacular blue skies overhead, and temperatures already on up near 60 degrees. Our average high for today, 59 for us here in Denver. So when we're talking about a high of temperature of 57, we're already right where we should be for this time of year. This following back-to-back 61-degree days back over the weekend. Mountains, 30s and 40s. So for today, wonderful weather ahead. Temperatures topping out in the mid-60s, mostly sunny skies, light south to southwest winds. Winds not an issue. Maybe a little bit gusty tomorrow at times, maybe a bit more of a breeze tomorrow. But again, I'm not seeing any sort of real weather concerns until Wednesday anywhere here across the state. So today, tomorrow looking pretty nice overall. So for today, mid-60s for us, as I mentioned, that is about 5 to 10 degrees above average depending on where you're at. A few cases, we might be talking about those highs near 70 degrees. Wouldn't be too surprised based on the fact that our temperature already up to 57 here in Denver if we do end up overperforming this by a degree or two later on this afternoon. So overall, again, just great weather. And tonight, those low temperatures, pretty comfortable stuff for this time of year. 43 for us here in the Denver area. A little bit further north, the cooler it gets, but even in Fort Collins and Greeley, Sterling, again, we're probably dropping down around freezing, and that is about it. But in the Denver area, again, those lows dropping down to the low to mid 40s. Very, very comfortable weather this evening for us in the mountains, 20s and 30s for the most part. Now tomorrow, even warmer, but we do have increasing clouds during the afternoon. It'll be high-level clouds, so that probably won't stop our temperature from getting on up into the low 70s for our day tomorrow. Not a bad start to November, right? Start in November, 71 degrees for us here in the Denver area. Sunrise at 7:26. Keep in mind, by the way, daylight saving time comes to an end this upcoming weekend, so those sunrises will get an hour earlier, but those sunsets will be before 5 o'clock this time next week. Forecast highs for tomorrow, 60s and 70s. Look at a few spots in southeast Colorado could flirt with 80 degrees on the first day of November, so very, very warm stuff for us. 50s, 60s on up into the mountains. Most of what you're looking at here, about 10 to 15 degrees above where we would expect for the first day of the month of November. Now, our next storm system of note comes later on this week. So with a big area of low pressure that's going to spin its way through the southwestern U.S., but mostly to our south and west here of Colorado. The system at this point looks to be tracking a bit too far south for significant impacts for areas from I-70 on north. So what that means is the San Juans, the Sangre de Cristos may see a fair bit of snowfall from this upcoming storm system. But I think for the I-70 mountains and certainly northern Colorado, this is going to be probably a fairly tame winter weather event, at least by our standards, and certainly compared to what we had last week. We had a real good burst of snow last week here into the higher terrain. This week, it looks like it's going to favor southern Colorado with the San Juans and the Sangre de Cristos, as well as the West Elks, the wet mountains, potentially getting in the Collegiate Peaks, maybe seeing as much as a foot of snow here. Again, as you head south of especially 285, that's where you're going to start running into some of those totals most of this Wednesday night and Thursday, where we could see in a few cases a foot plus worth of snowfall. Most of us here in southern Colorado looking at a widespread 6 inches plus along and north of I-70. A few spots may end up with 6-7 inches, but I think we're looking at a 2 to 5, 3 to 6 inch type of snow event. Now, this is one computer forecast model. Here's another one, the GFS model, which tends to favor southwest Colorado a bit more. I'm actually kind of leaning a bit more towards this solution here. Looks like southwest Colorado is going to really win out. So this is the one I would probably lean towards in terms of those snowfall totals at this point. Don't take these exact measurements, rifle 2.8 inches, for example. That is a 4-day out forecast, so obviously subject to change. Just keep in mind, these are general totals. So southwest Colorado, 6 to 12 inches plus, quite possible for us. And then along north I-70, probably 3 to 6 inches, a pretty good bet. And in between the West Elks, the Mosquitoes, I think we're maybe talking about closer to about 4 to 8 inches of snow above 8,000 to 9,000 feet. That does include the ski resort. So a good reinforcing shot of snow. And that comes on the heels of what's been a pretty active final few days of the month of October in terms of snowfall across the state. 7-day forecast. We got some clouds in the picture for both tomorrow and Wednesday. Warm temperatures, highs around 70 both days. Then by Thursday and Friday, watch those temperatures really draw back. Got an accompanying cold front, a weak area low pressure in southeast Colorado that will lead to some rain and snow for us here into the Denver area at this point. Those impacts look pretty limited for the Denver area. I think we're talking about some light rain flipping over to a brief period of snow. Similar impacts to last Thursday's rain snow event, if you might remember that, where we had a little bit of rain to a little bit of snow. We didn't get any official accumulating snow in the Denver area. I think at this point, we're probably looking highest case scenario, probably at something similar, maybe a little bit of slush. Honestly, this system looks a little less impressive to me compared to the one last week. So I think we're going to officially still be snow-free here in the Denver area. Didn't get measurable snowfall, as you might remember, last Thursday, Friday. I think we'll stay off the board, so to speak, this week as well. Then this weekend's forecast looks a little up in the air, I'll say that. We do have some of the computer models are trying to hint at something by Sunday, Monday, but for now we'll keep it dry here in the Denver area with temperatures generally in the low 60s, which is a little bit above average. As I mentioned with the snowpack, these are new numbers in, and this is how we're going to end October on a pretty good note here in terms of our snowpack figures. And take a look at this. Statewide, we are at 133% of our season-to-date snowpack across the state. Now, keep in mind, these are small numbers. So this would be kind of like the Broncos starting 1-0 or the Rockies maybe sweeping their opening series of the season, that kind of thing. So this is very, very early stuff. This is, again, we're end of October, so these snowpack numbers, they fluctuate a lot this time of year, but still good to see the fact that we've obviously gotten off to a pretty good start in terms of that snowpack across the state, and especially in southern Colorado. And the other bit of good news, too, is we're going to reinforce on that snowpack, so it's not going to all melt away this week. It's going to be reinforced Thursday, Friday with that next storm system. So these numbers, pretty good to see, no doubt about that. Now, with that said, here's a little bit of bad news. Mentioned how daylight saving time comes to an end later on this week on Saturday night into Sunday morning. That means right now, 5 o'clock looks pretty nice. In about 2 weeks, it's going to be basically pitch black from now. In fact, in a week from now, 5 o'clock going to be basically pitch black as sunset. 1 week from today will be at 4:51. So yeah, those long dark days of winter are just around the corner, and it starts, well, it's already started. We had our last 6 p.m. sunset of the year back on Saturday. Now those sunsets are before 6 o'clock until next March, and then will be before 5 o'clock starting next Sunday until I think it's early February. So, yeah, that's, I guess, a little bit of bad news. Good news is, though, let's leave you on a good note. Halloween forecast looks awesome. Temperatures upper 50s around 6 o'clock. They'll drop back into the mid to upper 40s by about 9, 10 o'clock tonight as those trick-or-treaters hopefully getting some pretty good sugary treats out there on this Monday evening. So hopefully it's giving you a good idea about what to expect as we head over the next few days. Meteorologist Greg Perez will have an update for you coming up at 9 News at noon. Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5, and then Meteorologist Danielle Grant's in at 6, 9, and 10 tonight on the 9 News Family of Networks. Once again, meteorologist Chris Bianchi, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Monday, and happy Halloween.